got a hand-me-down dog. I keep a second-hand cat. We all live together in a one-room run-down flat. I drive a Nash Rambler car.
Let's play some video games.
I work so hard at this. Every time's the same, and what do I get for it? I'm sick of this. I quit.
We did lose out this time. I can't believe how bad it was.
I'll just throw that thing away, would you?
No question about it. Oh!
What's up? What was that? Oh, wow! Is it yours? Is it for sale? I'll buy it. I'll buy it!
Hey, you, so, why do you want this thing so bad anyway?
Well, because
It's one of the magical crystals that disappeared ages ago when the last great culture fell into ruin.
Well, one of the crystals? But that means...
There must be more of them.
Do you hear that? Let's go, homie!
Okay, let's go. On to new adventure.
But we just got here. I need a bath.
we're all completely exhausted.
Okay, all right. But tomorrow morning, we set off.
Yay! We should be able to now go to the actual ruins in the woods. Yeah, it's cute, right? Had a little anime sequence at the beginning, kind of setting the tone for the game. Okay, my dwarf can wear it. So... let's go here. I don't know if it'll be better. I guess we'll just have to try. Boku's kind of chilling on the couch right now. She was barking a bit earlier, but she's been a lazy puppy. Level up, cause I needed another level. Oh, one slice and took them all. It's a trap. I'm gonna try to be more mindful to item compatibility when I take things. I still find it really weird that, like, you're kind of guessing at what items you get. It's like, oh, my character can at least use it, but is it better than what I have? I don't know if the thought is that, like, not knowing exactly what it is and not being able to switch it around after the fact should make for more argument within the party, and therefore make it more interesting. I think this way is how I get to the... There's that statue around here somewhere that gives me a title. I don't remember exactly where that is. It might be this. This is the boathouse itself. Yeah, maybe I already passed where the titles were. Is the gate already open? I don't think so. I think I gotta open it. Gate shoes look closed. I wonder if the title of what's on each person is per character or not. And furthermore, I kind of wonder how that ends up impacting the way the game works. I feel like I get access to other features. Sweet. Boathouse. Save spot. think it's gonna be good. It's gonna be productive fun. I don't think I can jump on anything to do silly stuff. Maybe up here. Get up here. I don't think that buys me a whole lot though. I like how it makes you jump into the boat just to give one more way for that to go wrong. Oh god, okay. This is some Mario Party shit. Let's fuck this dude up. This guy might be a little overpowered for us to fight. No, let's go. You want to fight? These little orbs have a lot of health. Come on back over this corner so I can corner you in this little thing. Boom. One's down. Come on back and fight. Boom. Another one is down. Seems like I'm gonna have to go back. Yeah. We'll let everybody heal up a bit. Oh, we're trying to heal here. Guess if I go inside, it might work better. Yeah, you're right. Party management is not great in single player. That tree's an a-hole. I was probably supposed to just sail past it, not fight it. I'm pretty lucky I actually survived that fight. He's petrified. I could have just been like, well, I'm dead. GG, everybody. I'm pretty disappointed this didn't get released stateside for the... Yes, he did. I'm kind of disappointed this didn't get released stateside for the PlayStation. Like, this would have been a great reason to get a 4-player tap for the PlayStation. This would have been a great Bushman Brothers game. They'd be like, okay, guys, that item's good for me, so I'm gonna take it. Okay, for this boss, here's what we gotta do. Here's what we gotta do. I'm going to be in the back getting pot shots off. The twins need to go melee and keep the boss off of us. Andy, you're gonna heal. And when we're done, don't grab any of the money that drops. I'm gonna take that because I know what we need to buy. Dave, you can't buy things for us though. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Now, I do have a mod-shipped PlayStation, so I could play the European version of this. That is probably a good reason to get a modded PlayStation. Or, I don't know, I guess get it on PC. This is running off of the CD image that I made day before yesterday, so it works through Daemon Tools just fine. What's kind of cute too is like with the laptop, you can just kind of fold the laptop up And be like, okay, now we all huddle around the laptop and play our video game. Like this back of the van, like road trip playing video game. You could play this on PSP. I think you'd be missing out on not having the 4-player though. I just... Okay, let's try this again. So the way the buttons map is a little weird, but as you saw, you are able to technically pilot the boat. And it's very much a Mario Party thing, like you see right here. I'm hitting my triggers, and I hit me the direction. Oh god, move past this guy. Ah! Oh god, there's backup somewhere. Oh shit, 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 shit. Turn, go, 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 turn, go, 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 go. I don't wanna fight these things. But you alternate hitting it to make the boat go. Okay, let's see what we can do over here. And you can move independently in the boat the whole time you're doing this nonsense. Of course we lost 2 of them. And of course you still can't get up here. It'd be kind of amazing if there's a character who just, how... provided a boost. Oh, let's go over here. Let's hide this dickhead. Oh no, I don't want... Not him! No, 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 no! Oh god, I can't. Okay, there we go. The buttons are mapped kind of weird for me. I'm just gonna pull me to the other side now. Wow. That guy's a dick. Pretty sure I can't go up that cliff. Is this just gonna take me back out the way I came? Do we legitimately need to go back to the inn to get more information about how to enter that place? The boat is a cute touch. Oh, what's this over here? Is this anything? Oh my goodness, is everything here just too strong? So I think the way this is working, based off the instructions, all the players can influence the boat at once. And one button moves you back to the left, one back to the right, one forward left, one forward right. And so like you'd have to alternate left right to wiggle and move. And so the whole thing is more that everyone's be fighting each other for actual control of the ship. Because you can all do all the things at once. I might heal up a little bit, and I might just try running past those flowers. Because they're so strong. Those flowers, again, would probably be easier to manage if I had other players with me. But single player like this, it kind of forces you to tank up and just be like, well, I'm on my own and everyone else is going to die because they're just dumbly following behind me. Unless I can do something more clever. Change the color, which is kind of neat, I guess. Yeah, I don't know how that works. We're waiting for Pumpkin to heal up. Pumpkin took a lot of damage there. I might be in slightly better shape had I been properly getting equipment for people, not just having the dwarf take everything and then realize that I can't actually use it. I'm also sure there's a... Actually, now that I think about it, I think behind the tavern, I think there's a place for me to spend money. So I'm going to go back to the end. I should check and see if I can buy any gear. Make my life a little easier. Okay, Pumpkin, you're just going to have to deal. Everyone run away. Okay, this guy we can fight. Fuck this guy up. Can't push it. Can't hit it. Can't jump on it. Can I cheese this guy? Oh, I think I can. Oh god, we can't cheese him. We can't cheese him. Run away. We can sort of cheese it. God damn. That powder. I know you've been much more focused on killing time, Doc. I do look forward to some more Guardian War, though. I think it's safe to say all involved with the NFGL are enamored by Guardian War. Come on. Come on, fight me. You gonna go after Pumpkin? Yeah, you are, actually. Oh god. Things are getting bad. Yay! Hey, Pumpkin, everybody leveled! Didn't you see? I wonder if it's like a teleport we go back to or something. Alright, everyone in the boat. Then we have to go back to the inn to find out what happens next. Shoot, is that a... Is that path? Oh god, there's a tree there. Fuck this. Out. We're out. Leave. Run. We will all die. Okay, so there's another one of those there. So I suspect we have to like do something with those pillars. And that's gonna make it all work. The tree's like time to lumber up and get ready for this fight. Give Pumpkin a chance to heal. We will eventually have to fight the trees. Again, I'd be less afraid of the flowers if I could get people to move out of the way of them. I also kind of wonder how the camera controls work, if that's just player one, because there's only one camera. I want to jump on... the boxed in things, but I have no reason to. Why do you... Given like how the geometry kind of wiggles, I wonder if they're doing the same fixed point 3D math on this that they would do in the PlayStation. I think also you get more XP for directly contributing to combat, because like I think we go to the screen. I'm 35, 26, 27. Like, that's partly because I'm the dude directly fighting all the time. So I think you couldn't just hang back for XP, because that's almost what the CPUs are doing right now. I think you'd actually want them to be going in and fighting, and then maybe kiting around the monsters or something. That should be enough for us to get back in one piece. Mostly I just didn't want Pumpkin to have like 1 HP and then get annihilated by some low B creature. I think this is where that little sign is that I was talking about before that gives you the titles. Unless I'm wrong, and this is the teleport. That's the teleport. Okay, yes, I'm wrong. We're heading there. Yeah. I wonder if kind of what they thought you would do is you'd beat the boss and then you'd immediately try the boats, and then you'd be like, oh man, I can't progress. Now I need to go back to the end. Instead, we're like, I went back to the end and then came back in to the forest and like, oh, I have to go right back to the end again. Cool. Give me a second, we'll see. Oh yeah, Find Lever gives me double the... Man. I can't move these over. I think this one's locked. Cool. So let me... I want to see if there's a store something I can go to real quick here. You are not helpful. There was someone standing in the back here before who seemed kind of trickster jestery like. I look purty. Darth the dwarf. Purdy. Okay, go to that back door. Great. Okay, now to the question you posed about default actions for party members. To the manual. So I can look at well, it says other player characters automatically attack enemies when approached. So I'm looking at what you can do at the end. Okay, have unknown items checked. Store things in the stock box. And that seems to be it. I don't even think you can sell things or buy things. So, the herb girl in the lobby of the inn can give you herbs if you run low. And then the treasure chest gives you healing pins if you run low. So I think you're supposed to get everything from going out and combating. Oh. No, you need to have a full party. Item utility. Select an entry base. Where's item utility? Maybe I got some of this wrong. How do I see the item utility? So we have, just to make sure this all jives, this is the group organization page. Cool, whatever. We have mini map. Mini map. These don't go in the order that. Well, maybe it skips the event object page. Straight to Jewel. So there's mini map. Group organization, sure. Jewels. Ability window. So what I'm finding interesting is that there is a page referenced here called item utility, and you can auction. I think you can have the different players all auction for items. So you don't give them to each other, but you're like, oh, I got this loot. If you want it, you need to give me something for it. But I don't know how to open the item utility. Because it doesn't explain how to find it. I don't have a compatible second controller right now. That wouldn't be it. Oh my god. Okay. Observe. Just gonna say that wrong. You have to exit the game. they have to buy it for the price. So you buy elves. Yeah. Yes, and it's not a free transfer. At least as far as I know. So, I have this here leather armor. Is this something anybody would be interested in? Is that dagger is an attack of 5 and attack of 9? Like, that's gonna help some. You can just feel how much of a multiplayer game this is. I mean, for all I know, maybe on the PlayStation version you can carry them over with memory cards. And you technically can carry characters over. Well, now my rogue... I'll say this. I can do stuff now. Like... I can... We have a path forward for getting items. And I suppose what we would do if I needed to... really need to transfer an item to a character and I just did not have the means, I could just main another character for a bit and have them collect stuff. Actually, I might just main Pumpkin for a bit and try to get them leveled. I haven't looked in the manual that closely, so maybe they straight up call out pulling the saves out of the file, or out of the program files or something. Like at this point, my dwarf is like 10 levels higher than everybody else. I mean, I can send you this one when we're done here. So apparently one of the things that the dwarf does really well is blocking, which I really haven't been doing. I think I tried it once and it worked. But I am... I don't know. It's like playing a racing game and all you never hit the brake, or like playing a fighting game and never blocking. Good. Yeah. I mean, I've also got 4 lovely characters here. If you end up wanting to play as one of these, be a rogue, a healer, a warrior. Or, of course, the ever-powerful Darth, the dwarf. Let's see if I... Very industrious. Nobody. There's a bunch of other classes. I mean, you saw. I think there's like 6 or 8 classes, and then you can do male, female. Okay, so it looks like I can do a special slash if I, like, rotate the stick and then slash. I've not completely mastered that yet. I'm not sure for some of the explosion effects if that is rendering flaws, like with those white lines, or if that's intentional. Because it kind of looks anime explodey. That's the bottom of the world. We're not getting that one. I resisted. Yeah, sure, I'll take it. Yeah, the lack of shadows. I guess like my characters have shadows, but like I don't know. I still find it hard to nail down the flying creatures reliably. I shouldn't have gone after that experience. Woe is me. Woe is me. I'm not gonna go do boathouse things just yet because I'm just gonna get killed there. I might have to retread some old ground, unfortunately. Supposedly, the rogue is supposed to be able to break small locks. I have not yet found a single lock that the rogue can open. I think they all required event keys, so maybe that changes once we get into an actual dungeon, like ruins, and not just the forest area. I think there's also items that we can get to resist petrification. Should probably help against those trees. I don't know how to get them aside from hoping they drop, I guess. As graceful as ever. We got this, gang. Oh, thank goodness Darth leveled up. I was worried he would be too low of a level. He has 900 money. I'm gonna get you. It would be really cool if they had like a modding community where you could build your own scenarios. Like, this would be a fun game to download scenarios for. I'm not gonna fight him. Dang it. One of the weird movement things where changing the camera doesn't change the relative direction of your I feel like how those crabs are just designed to push you off ledges. That's what they do. I think I remember first meeting the armored lizard men here, and that was giving me some trouble. Those guys should be pretty easy now. So I can more thoroughly explore this swamp. Oh, I forgot about these fuckers. These guys are schooling me for freaking magic. Okay, so now we back off. I think we missed that last time. Absolutely. Let's take a step back. Yes, please. Now we'll switch back to our friend Pumpkin. Alright. Magician gets hit first. Good job, party, for managing most of that. remember hitting a drop like that before. So I wonder if that was that little drop is meant to just be like, oh hey, we need to throw something for the priests in the world. Resist? Oh. Yeah, I'll take it. Should probably actually heal. Which is Darf. I don't know why you're charging at Darf. Darf is way, way overbuilt for you. Should move that out of the way first and see what that was. What are we doing? Running around, leveling a bit. I think that's the way I went before and found the armored lizards. I think there's paths that converge where that dumps out, so I did not go this way before. I'd like to see what's over here. Oh. Huh. 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 Oh my gosh, look at that. Look at that. That is some skillful bridging. Making the hut sound is key to making difficult jumps in a platformer, as I'm sure you're aware. If you're not straining your voice and your gut with every leap, then you're never going to make it. Oh, that's cute. You all want to play? Who else wants a piece? Yeah, I see. So if you're like, oh man, I don't know if I can make those jumps, you just have to face some lizard men kind of early on. That's fine. I think the lizard men were a tougher fight than the jumps that we went through. Blindly fighting. Oh, I'll rock some bears. I think I'm afraid of bears. I was. Like, I remember how our first romp through the swamps and all that went. I was pretty rattled after fighting those lizard men because I was not quite... Like, I mean, I could beat them, but, like, they beat me up a lot worse than the previous monsters we fought. And so going immediately from that to, like, big-ass bears, I was like, oh no, I'm gonna die. I need to run. Oh, dang it. So that was a case where I was trying to move my stick in a different direction and it didn't work because of camera weirdness. Ah. So something I do find interesting about the dwarf in particular is I could see, like, when fighting dudes at... I mean, I guess any bad guys, really. As long as they're not trying to move around you, he is built for you to, like, find a choke point, set him up there with his shield, and then, like, have others pelt from range. Which isn't something I feel like we encounter very often when playing multiplayer dungeon crawls. Like, usually you got your healer and you've got your spellcaster and stuff, but, like, you're not trying to force the positioning of monsters very much. I sure will take it. I'm thinking back to, like, that tree fight on the bridge before the ruins. Like, could I maneuver things properly? You could have Darth hang out up front and just put up a shield, keep the tree at a bit of distance, and maybe block his spells. And then everyone else could just attack from range, or more range at least. I don't know how well that actually works, because I don't know if all that casting ends up just going through shields or not. I know, again, jumping's no fun. The theory's interesting, though. I think this is where I grinded before. Oh, god damn. That looks dope. But before you can enter the cabin, you must deal with the bear. I don't know that I can actually do the barrel test with only one player. I wonder if there's characters that have better jump or can climb or something. So it's a nice little touch. That window in the back of the cabin is open. When you go inside, I believe the window is also open and the light's pouring in. So they made it consistent. Isn't that neat? Yeah, there's the open window. Isn't that neat? I thought I had the key already. Why not? Maybe I dropped the boathouse key. Or not boathouse key, the woodcutter key for some reason. The portrait of the founder of the barrel test is engraved on the treasure chest. Okay, so you have to pass the barrel test to open that chest. Okay, that engraving comment didn't make sense to me before. I guess you can hop out of there. I don't know why you'd want to do that. First, I can get bears. I'll fight bears all day. Fight these dudes too. That's fun. So originally, oh god, bees. I don't want to fight bees. They're a pain to kill. Originally, I was thinking of doing Landgrisser over break. I even brought the cartridge home. But after trying this, I was like, oh, this is the game. This is the game to play. Now, why the frame rate's all of a sudden unlocked and, you know, playing like it's playing on a gigahertz Pentium 3, I don't know. I'm not fighting more bees with that. Well, okay, I don't know why my directional changed like that. Let's go all the way up into the clearing. Ooh, bears. That's our way back. Oh, I can fight him again. Interesting. Well, that's kind of nice. It lets me refight the boss if I want. I mean, it does totally align with the idea of running these multiple times. I didn't move the statue, so we can't teleport back. That's so incredibly lame. They literally just had a chore that I forgot to do. So now we walk back. Whatever. We'll walk back. Well, it does show that if a character hasn't like fallen off a cliff or something and they're stuck, it will make the camera stop panning or scrolling. So you can't just walk with characters off screen. Which, I mean, multiplayer, that's how it'd work. Oh, I was gonna fight something other than bees. I don't want to fight bees. Fight bears, I'll fight lizard men. Yeah, get him, Hal. That's kind of cool. That fish gets stuck and starts hurting somebody. You can have a buddy knock it off and kill it. Did not know that before. I will not tolerate spellcasters in here. And the gate opens here, but probably death. Sure is. Try something dumb. Huh! Huh! Nope, you can't move in midair when you jump. It's like, can I jump around the fence? But no. No, I can't. Oh, I wish I had better camera. So what I want to do is line up the camera straight on when I jump, since oh, good swipe, gang. I don't know why the game's all of a sudden running so much faster. Dang it. So when the camera's not straight on, because of the lack of granularity with direction on the stick, you can jump at a bad angle. You can't adjust in midair, so you kind of get one shot at it. If you mess it up, you're going off. Which, thankfully, when you miss a jump, you're not penalized that bad. Like, you lose 2 health, like, who cares? They'll kill you if you're already close to death, but it's not that big of a deal. Where are we at, anyway? You can see how Pumpkin's already pulling ahead a little bit in levels. Oh, good, we gotta do this again. I wish someone had wings. The downside of not having the teleport to go back. And there's a crab laying right over there. Here's Uncle Sam playing a Boomer RPG. This one has 3Ds in it. It was on the first PlayStation back when they made that. I remember when they made the PlayStation, we didn't know you could have CDs with your video games yet. Come on, gang. It's weird they only have snakes right here. They kind of blend in, which makes them a little bit of trouble, I guess. Great. Let's fight them out. I wonder if we'll fare any better against the evil tree. Oh, right. Seems like the way level XP is distributed, it keeps people from falling super far behind. Like, right, my dwarf character pretty far ahead, but the party isn't uselessly behind. And that would be, I mean, that's kind of the worst case scenario where I literally have AIs that barely do anything in combat. So I can imagine that if you had 4 players regularly playing, and then, you know, some people, they got less frontline time with the bad guys, they weren't as good at the game. Like, no one can satisfy that elf sword that we had gotten before. Right, like a less experienced player or somebody, they won't get as much XP, but it'll still be playable. And as they improved, then presumably they could catch up a little bit. I wonder if you get XP for healing folks too. Just thinking about like support classes and the classic problem of you just don't fight as much, so you just never get better. Oh, the game's over. Sorry, Hal. Ah! Literally running away from the paralyzing attack. We're gonna attack this dickhead until we kill him. That's what we're gonna do now. Where are we sitting level-wise? I'm gonna go let the pups out real quick while we heal up, so BRB, if you need to take a bathroom break, now's a good time.
I got a hand-me-down dog. I keep a second-hand cat. We all live together in a one-room run-down flat. I drive a Nash Rambler car. It never goes very far. I drink my pint of old granddad from an old green mason jar. But I got a brand new girlfriend. She's my brand new girl. And I'm sitting on top of the world, 'cause I got a brand new girl. She blows her money like a whirlwind. I got a brand new girlfriend. She drives a shiny new car. I wear shiny old slacks. She's got the fresh ideas. I spout threadbare, worn-out facts. But she's my girlfriend. She's my brand new girl. And I'm sitting on top of the world, 'cause I got a brand new girl. She blows her money like a whirlwind. I got a brand new girlfriend. She say it's not about the money, it's all about my love. The friends say it just looks funny. What's the girl thinking? What's the girl thinking? What's the girl thinking of? But she's my girlfriend. She's my brand new girl. And I'm sitting on top of the world, 'cause I got a brand new girl. She blows her money like a whirlwind. I got a brand new girlfriend. 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 I got a brand new girl. Brand new girlfriend. Got a brand new girl. I got a brand new girl. I got a brand new girlfriend. Got a brand new. I got a brand spanking new girlfriend. A brand new girlfriend. I got a hand-me-down dog. I keep a second-hand cat. We all live together in a one-room run-down flat. I drive a Nash Rambler car. It never goes very far. I drink my pint of old granddad from an old green mason jar. But I got a brand new girlfriend. She's my brand new girl. And I'm sitting on top of the world, 'cause I got a brand new girl. She blows her money like a whirlwind. I got a brand new girlfriend. She drives a shiny new car. I wear shiny old slacks. She's got the fresh ideas. I spout threadbare, worn out But she's my girlfriend. She's my brand new girl. And I'm sitting on top of the world, 'cause I got a brand new girl. She blows her money like a whirlwind. I got a brand new girlfriend. She say it's not about the money, it's all about my love. Her friends say it just looks funny. What's the girl thinking? What's the girl thinking? What's the girl thinking of? But she's my girlfriend. She's my brand new girl. And I'm sitting on top of the world, 'cause I got a brand new girl. She blows her money like a whirlwind. I got a brand new girlfriend. 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 I got a brand new girl. Brand new girlfriend. Got a brand new girl. I got a brand new girl. I got a brand new girlfriend. Got a brand new. I got a brand spanking new girlfriend. A brand new girlfriend. I got a hand-me-down dog. I keep a second-hand cat. We all live together in a one-room run-down flat. I drive a Nash Rambler car. It never goes very far. I drink my pint of old granddad from an old green mason jar. But I got a brand new girlfriend. She's my brand new girl. And I'm sitting on top of the world, 'cause I got a brand new girl. She blows her money like a whirlwind. I got a brand new girlfriend. She drives a shiny new car. wears shiny old slacks. She's got the fresh ideas. I spout threadbare, worn out facts. But she's my girlfriend. She's my brand new girl. And I'm sitting on top of the world, 'cause I got a brand new girl. She blows her money like a whirlwind. I got a brand new girlfriend. She say it's not about the money, it's all about my love. The friends say it just looks funny. What's the girl thinking? What's the girl thinking? What's the girl thinking of? But she's my girl.
Alrighty, I'm back. Pups have gone out. Refilled my tea. No one's trying to get a hold of me. Cool. Similar to your issues with the Dual Strike, got digital directional controls on this gamepad, and I can't use them for movement, which is a bit annoying. Hopefully it works for you. Boat out of there fast. Yeah, like I don't have that much slack on this actually. I have a little bit. Like on here, the left stick does the joystick movement, and I don't think I can actually rebind movement in this game. So it's like, oh, you got a joystick? Well, then joystick movement, of course. There sure is. There is magic. Yeah, like, I mean, I don't know completely how to do it, but you have to flip through the menu, select that. I have heal equipped, maybe. I'm actually not sure what I have equipped. Wooden club. Don't know anything about what these do. The undead are exorcised by holy light. And those, that's cast with button combos. Circle, triangle, triangle. Yeah. So if I go to 3, controls, cast spells 10. Yeah, it doesn't even show up. Okay, so well, at least I got those going for me. Yeah, they have sorcerers and priests. I think sorcerers would be your offensive magic. I'm gonna look it up and see. I'm not exactly sure how magic gets cast. In fact, like my priest has like, oh, boo undead, but no heal. Let's see. Also, this has a standard setup for Microsoft Sidewinder gamepad, so you're gonna want that. Let's see. So hunters can find secret trails, they can use herbs, and they can use bows, which are cool. Yeah. I just wish I liked the Sidewinder gamepad more. Like, I don't like the feel of it. Yeah, so priests have a special ability they can use healing magic. Too bad I don't have any healing spells. Sorcerers can use magical attacks. Fairies offer, they call it supplemental magic. I assume that's going to be like buffs. They also take less damage from ground attacks. Elves are like a balanced magic class. Oh, gee, over the Gravis pad? Whoa. I don't like the Gravis pad. Make sure this is all configured the way I'd expect. Attack and action is square. Special circle. Okay. Yeah, that's all the way I'd expect. Yeah. No, I'm with you. It's more me having a rather low opinion of the Gravis gamepad. Like, the Gravis gamepad reminds me a lot of, like, chintzy third-party Super Nintendo controllers or something. Where we gonna go? Did it not trigger? There we go. Um, oh, frick, too late. Yeah, that tree seems to be more difficult than the owlbear we fought. It's a tree bear. You have owl bears and you have tree bears. I realized you didn't know that. I wish there was a hotkey for using items, or that I could use items from the pause menu. Neither of which you can do. Instead, you have to hit triangle, sift through the little on-screen thing, and click the item you want, going through basically all the things you don't want. It reminds me a bit of like Secret of Mana. I hated that ring interface. Like Secret of Evermore has it too, but like it is so clunky. Oh, so that's how I cast spells, I guess. Holding down circle? I could try using my shield too and see if that absorbs some of the damage. Dang it. Pumpkin, you are so weak. I want to do that. That's what I want to do. I mean, this isn't working great, so maybe I just... Maybe I should just go and just grind bears. It's like one of those physical attacks from the tree takes out like half of the health on Pumpkin. I have no way of getting better gear as far as I know. Yeah. Yeah, I could see network play being attractive. I could see cloning this game being a fun project. Like if I was going to make a 3D game that wasn't meant to be bleeding edge, right? Like this idea of like, oh, let's make a 3D renderer that uses all the proprietary APIs, right? I would do something like this, where the graphics requirements are not terribly high. There's not a lot of special effects. But the core gameplay loop is really good. You could add some niceties like modern network play, because that has nothing to do with the renderer, right? That's just how the game scene is updating and how it's handling different dynamic events. Now, a game like this would definitely benefit from using a pre-existing engine, which had all the netcode stuff basically stubbed out. Like something like Unreal, where a naive implementation would probably get you something that synchronizes and basically works, and then you can just work on optimizing update rates and what gets synchronized and all that. I'm gonna move rock. Out of the way of the teleporter. Which I apparently should have done before. So something I didn't think much about when picking them up, like we pick up herbs. I have a lot of herbs. You notice when the herbs come up out of the chest, nobody says okay. I'm pretty sure it's because you need a hunter in order to use herbs. So I have like a bunch of an item that no one in my party will ever use. I don't want to fight a bunch of bees. Maybe I want to be up here. 'Cause I think these smaller areas force different spawns. I need 100 herbs to use them. I don't think I can use herbs. I think I need to have a hunter in order to use herbs. I have a bunch. Just because I've been collecting them. Oh, sorry. Maybe I was talking too quiet or something. Yeah. The special ability of the hunter class is you can use herbs. I think it's supposed to like thematically fall into the idea that you're gathering these herbs in the wilderness. Okay, let's hold on. And no one can hold this thing. Cool. So most of my characters don't have any sort of armor upgrade. I think, with the exception of the dwarf, well, yeah, my dwarf, my warrior, neither of them have had any weapon upgrades. But yet they'll spawn me like a sword for an elf. for some reason. I think some of that stuff is good for a sorcerer. I'm not sure. Yeah, the game audio is turned down a bit, mostly so I can not be competing with it when I talk. As far as the other party members, this is a game that can support up to 4 players simultaneously playing. You can see there's 4 party members here. When you start the game, you can choose, or you can kind of roll characters and add them to your party. It's a bit like the old school D&D computer games in that way, where you would roll a bunch of characters and you'd have a pool of them, and then you'd pick 4 of them to be the party. They have special abilities. Like, right now the one I'm running around as, you see just me spinning in a circle, that's our warrior. They can use a shield, and there's specific gear that they can use. I also have a priest in the party who can cast undead spells, or anti-undead spells. Supposedly they can heal too, but I don't have a healing spell yet. A rogue who can break locks and can move a little faster, and then a dwarf who's a high defense, tanky sort of character. I think there's a lot of overlap between the dwarf and the warrior, honestly. Trick is, when you're not playing with 4 players and there's only one, you can only control 1 character at a time. So you can see here I'm controlling the warrior. If I go to the menu here, I can change which character I control. Like, let's change to the rogue, and now I'm controlling the rogue. This is a game that feels like it really, really ought to be played with 4 players, because, right, like, the AI isn't going to cast spells while we're in combat, even though it has spellcasters. They're going to attack if enemies get close, but, like, if I had a healing spell, my priest wouldn't cast it. They'd just hit something with their staff if they got close. That's about it. No one moves in a tactical way, they just follow the leader. So if I'm trying to go into melee against a difficult monster, they're all going to get close into melee and probably get killed. And other mentions. As you saw, like, you have to go into a menu to change characters, so like hot swapping between different characters to use their abilities is not amazing. So that kind of that's a really long-winded explanation for what's going on with having all the characters on screen. They all level independently, and kind of what I'm going through the process of right now. Oh god, I hit a trap! Cursed? What's Cursed do? This is a weapon for me. Okay. Probably is the menu you go to and use items. I'm not thrilled about it. I'm leveling characters right now. Can I not attack? Oops, sorry, wrong button. I can't attack. Okay. Yeah, I can turn it up a little bit. We'll see how that is. Like, I'm looking at it through a VU meter, and that tells me one thing, but like, right, it also depends on the nature, the kind of audio you get. Like, if it's sound effects or music, like those will come in different. Let's see now. Yeah, so I'm cursed, so I can't attack right now. So, since... Sorry, the last piece I wanted to mention about the party stuff. Everyone gets experience when you kill a creature. I believe you also get experience for doing direct damage to a creature. And since you only control one character at a time, my party's kind of got an imbalance right now. Where the one, like, I was playing with the dwarf as my main through kind of my first run through this little dungeon area. And so he's got like 8 levels above everybody else just because he was doing direct damage all the time. And that's becoming a problem, whereas I'm encountering more powerful monsters, a lot of my party's dropping right away. So I'm grinding, basically, to bring them back up a bit. Is it possible to only roll one point? No, unfortunately, I won't even say unfortunately, just the way the game's designed. When you go and start a game, you pick the list of characters, and it won't give you the option to start the game until you've picked 4. So you really do need to play with 4 characters. And can I show this real quick? We'll go into the control menu. It is meant to have 4 players, cooperative, local, on this machine. Unsurprisingly, if you look at some of the interface and how some of the menus are laid out, this is a port of a PlayStation game. It very much feels like that. Like it, and if you look on Wikipedia, this came out for PlayStation in Japan and in Europe. And the only North American release of it was on Windows, as we see here. So yeah, this is a console port, and that's why it has some of these oddities. As you get into it more, there's other weirdness, like each character has their own independent... Let's see if I can attack this dude again. Yes. Alright. Each character has their own independent inventory, their own independent money, their own independent experience, and you can't freely trade items between the characters. Not even when you leave the dungeon. The only way to exchange items between characters, it's kind of interesting, it adds a little bit of a competitive element, is to have an auction where you have to leave the game and go back to the main menu and I think it's called Object Utility. But within it, you can view the inventories of all the characters you have, and also auction off items they have. And there's slews of items, or not. There's different items that have different requirements. Like specific classes can only use certain items, so you will probably end up at some point pick up an item you can't use. And if you don't want to just throw it away, you have to go and auction it off to another character who has to spend currency they earned in game to buy it off of the person selling it. And I used it once just to move an object around, or move a weapon around to my rogue, but I don't think you can pay below the value of the item to move it. At least I couldn't figure out how to do it within the interface. So that's something. It's weird. Yeah, you would need a multi-tap. I'm kind of disappointed this didn't come out in North America on the PlayStation, because yeah, I just highlighted a bunch of really weird shit about it. But it's a functional cooperative dungeon crawl, right? And if you can imagine having 4 players all independently using these different characters, and some are casting spells, and others are like sneaking around as a rogue, or being a tank and like throwing up their shield, you could have some really cool party dynamics in your fights. This would be a fun party game with friends. And it's a functional single player game. Like, I'm enjoying it. It's a bit lame that I have to grind, because since I can't leverage my full party, when I encounter a difficult situation, I don't have a lot of options beyond leveling high enough to be able to tank and take damage. Because I can't have a healer healing me, I can't have another caster buffing me. Like, I could kind of try, but I'd be fumbling through menus, and it's a big pain. Because you have to like, pause in order to go and switch characters, as you saw me do earlier. And to cast a spell, we'll kill these bears first. You have to hit triangle, and then sift through this on-screen menu, and then cast it. And like the whole time you're getting hit by monsters and stuff. Like, it's real clunky. So, yeah, I've just been grinding away to kill monsters until I'm strong enough that I can handle the damage output by a difficult monster, go back, continue forward. I do plan on trying this co-op with some folks, because I think it'd be a lot more fun with more players. And I like the old school early 3D stuff like this. Sorry, I should catch up on chat a little bit instead of being a terrible person and. Let's see, Chris, you mentioned what was going on. Yeah, okay, that makes sense with the brightness. Oh, jeez, yeah. Use all my appendages. So, fun fact, I'm using a PlayStation 4 controller. I am playing this. I got too much hooked up. I'm not going to try to move my laptop. I'm playing this off of an old Sony Vaio laptop running Windows ME. I read about this online. I didn't believe it, so I tried it. This PlayStation 4 controller is plugged in over USB to a USB 1.1 port, and Windows recognizes it as a valid joystick with no drivers. It is recognized as a generic joystick HID device. So, if you don't know, a HID device in the USB standard, when you plug a device in, it can register a unique identifier for itself as what kind of device it is. Like, this is why you can plug in a mouse into USB, and Windows knows it's a mouse, and it just works. And there's a number of generic devices like that built into the USB standard. And those are called human interface devices, or HID. Joysticks are one of those. PlayStation 4 controller, I shit you not, registers itself as a HID joystick, the left stick being your movement, and all the face buttons and all the triggers, and even the share and option button come up as unique buttons, and it just works. I plugged this into Windows ME, like I said, on USB 1.1, so not even USB 2, and it doesn't need the extra amperage from USB 2. It doesn't need the additional speed, and it's enough to power the controller, and it's enough to bind keys and run it, which was handy for me because I didn't have an old school controller that I could immediately use in Windows 98. But no, I'm playing it in this old fucking computer game. I use it with like Need for Speed and all that. So that just came to mind. You're talking about getting arcade sticks or something. Hey man, if you got an old Windows 98 machine and you need a USB joystick and you got a PS4, you already got one. To answer Chris's question, yes. The only use I've seen for money so far is for auctions. And the blue circles you collect are money. I think the purple jewels are additional experience. I might be wrong though. I have the manual, but I haven't read through the whole thing. The jewels might just be larger currency of money. Like, that's another point of weird balance when you're playing this in one-player mode. Nobody can use that. I'll tell you how I know that here in a second. So, to give more instruction, what the hell's going on here? As I said before, you can't just trade items between players. But that gets into a weird situation where if you are playing with a party, and you find a chest, and it's like, oh hey, I've got this sword here. It's going to go into the inventory of whoever's running into that chest. So it really matters to try to get into the inventory of somebody who can actually use it. There's also a item identification mechanic, similar to what you might find with special items in Phantasy Star Online, or named items sometimes in Diablo, where you'll pick up an item, you don't know its stats, you don't know its name, so you don't know anything about it. The way they balance that a bit so that you don't know what the item is, but you're not just shoving random items into inventory you can never get it out of, is when you get to this screen where you open the chest and it gives you the picture and it says, hey, we found blah. Sometimes it's a consumable item, sometimes it's a weapon. It will have a little like speech bubble that says okay above all the characters in the party on screen who can use that item. So that if I run into this chest and it has a sword and it's like, hey, do you want to take it? I can look and see, can I use this potentially? Can any of the other party members use it? And of course, if I can't, like here, I could say, no, I'm not going to take it, and then we don't pop the chest. And since I'm playing one player, I could then switch to a different character who theoretically could use it. Like, no one can use this. So me picking it up doesn't do me a lot of good, but I'll do it anyway. But that's how they kind of compensate for that weirdness. I would have much rather had it to where you could just share items between characters, but that's totally not how this game wants to work. How's Dave doing these days? Yeah, Dave is doing well. I don't know how far off you are from... I assume you're talking about Dave Bushman, our brother. He's married. He's got a couple kids. Working at the post office. He's living life. Then what would motivate someone to hoard and save money to win an auction? That's a great question, Chris. I have no idea. There's some weird choices with how this works. Oh, Huddleston, yeah. Actually, yeah, Doc, you might know a bit more than me about how Huddleston's doing, where he's at. I don't want to talk to him a whole lot. Also, is the audio balance a bit better for the game? Like, it looks like it's about 50% to 70% of the volume of my microphone volume right now, which is probably okay. I think this game ends up running a bit quiet anyway. Like, you don't get a lot of guitars and peaking noise. Come on, bees. Come on, bees. I am also grinding in this particular area because there's a low likelihood of spawning bees. So as you see, the bees are a bit of a pain to kill. Yep, no one does a lot of damage. I'm at an unfortunate point that comes up a lot in older JRPGs where I'm way too powerful for the monsters I'm fighting, but I'm way too weak for the next area up. So I'm just beating on things that are easy to kill to get to a point where I can stay alive fighting where I need to go to next. Yeah, like we can see, Pumpkin is basically caught up with Darf. So when I started leveling, Darf was level 38. I'm sorry, no, Darf was level 36, and then all the other characters were level 28. So he had a wide level gap. And now we can see that Pumpkin and Darf have closed that up a lot. And Pumpkin is who I switched to and started maining as we've been leveling. So now, because Pumpkin's basically caught up, I'm gonna switch again, and we'll main. What do I name our rogue? Sneaker. I'll main Sneaker for a bit. So is InfoSec more about just data encryption and storage than it is, like, networking security? Yeah, you can see here, I picked up a healing potion. Everyone can use healing potions, so that's why everyone has an OK on the screen. It's been a fun little adventure reading a minimum amount of the manual and just playing this and trying to figure out how the different pieces of it function and work together. There's been times I've had to go to the manual because, like, even just saving, it's not intuitive where that is in the game. And so I was like, how the hell do I save? And I have to go find it. Or I'm looking for a specific keybind because I think I should be able to do something, but it's bound to like an F key or something, and there's no controller bind for it. So how does that differ then from cybersecurity? Is InfoSec meant to be a superset of that? I guess I took cyber a trap, nothing hard about it. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I always took cybersecurity to be just like a generic term for like security stuff when you're dealing with computer systems. Bears. I do want to use the rogue more. So, like, warriors and dwarves, they're handy for combat, you know, they hit good, they can take damage. I don't have fun mechanics the way a rogue would, where rogue's like, oh, I'll bust that lock open, or where you saw a trap was in the chest and the rogue was like, I got this, whatever. Doesn't get much more in the weeds than that these days. Once upon a time, back when I worked on an MMO, there was basically one guy devoted to this kind of. I don't know how standardized his position is, because I think there's elements of it you see in a lot of online games. Well, basically what he was doing was a combination of social observation and diving through event logs and a little bit of speculative analysis. Good job, Sneaker. To identify exploits in the game and ways where people could like abuse in-game economies and grief other players, and then report on that and make recommendations to the developers to then make changes to the software or designers to change how the events ran and stuff. Which to me is like a game rule in a game world version of what you might find in an enterprise setting where you're looking at user behaviors and the way data is being moved around. I mean, I would hope that if you're having to dive into enterprise level data security stuff, that you're going to see a pay bump from it. It's not for me, like I never had the cognitive interest to chase security flaws. So, yeah. Doing software development is more fun for me. But if I had to do that sort of thing, then there'd have to be compensation. Oh, I know about that sign. Okay, so if I ever made my own version of a game like this, definitely bind reading signs and talking to people to a key press instead of running into it. Especially in the heat of combat like this, running into a sign and pausing everything to go read a sign I've read 20 times, that's no bueno. Yeah, that's helped me a lot too, being able to work from home. Like where I'm at sitting right now, this is my home office. And there's trade-offs. I do go into our proper office once a week, and I'll probably start doing it more often to see other people and socialize. Because I found that doing software development remotely, almost all of my time I spend talking with people is about work, because we have a meeting or a question needs answered or something. And all those casual social run-ins where you might just like say a dumb joke or otherwise kind of interact with somebody in a human way is lost. And you do that day in and day out, and you just feel like a robot after a while. Because, all you're doing when you're talking to people is just work function. So I end up going into the office on occasion specifically to have those social interactions. Where, like, my girlfriend, she works in a different kind of job. Work is a social engagement for her. Like, that's her opportunity to see her coworkers she likes, and they get to joke around, catch up while they work and whatever. And that went away with COVID and more permanent remote work. Like, one thing I do now is when I come to the office, we have a regular board gaming thing we do after hours. It's like, work during the day, cool. Once work lets out, a small group of us will bring together some board games, and we'll spend a couple hours just playing board games and hanging out. But all that being the case, it's still been nice to be able to work from home and have some security that comes with that. Not wondering whether like something's gonna get shut down, and then I can watch our dogs, and I have an opportunity to set up my office the way I like it. Yeah, we've got some folks that are kind of distant remote that fall in that sort of situation. In our case, we end up semi-regularly, like I think we end up landing about twice a year. We'll fly folks out just to put names to faces and, you know, again, interact with folks like people in a way that we may not have normally. And that's been pretty healthy. Ooh, chest. Got so many healing potions. So yet another weird thing about how this game is put together. And I have run into this with multiple RPGs. And the crux of it is, do you heal when you level? If your HP heals when you level, then there's this sort of very narrow hill you climb, where if you're able to catch up with whatever damage you take gaining that next level, like if you, without healing, right? Like if whatever damage I take is ultimately less than my maximum HP, and then I heal as a result of leveling, that sets me up to never need to use healing items. And so there's no finite resource to have to go back to town for, or make a choice about whether I use or not in order to survive in the dungeon. You can basically just infinitely wander the dungeon, because you're in no real permanent danger, because the next level is just around the corner. And when your healing is tied to your experience, then it's also tied to your character's strength and their capacity to, you know, perform well. Meaning the game gets easier and you heal more, and the game keeps getting easier, which makes a really weird feedback loop. And why I call it like a really narrow hill is, right when you start out, it is probably too hard for you to do that. You come into the dungeon and it's your first time there, so you're taking a bunch of damage, but you're going to start to level because you're going to be in there a little bit. And once you hit that peak, that kind of turning point where you can now survive long enough to your next level because you're strong enough to either absorb damage or just avoid it altogether because you're killing dudes faster, then difficulty quickly plummets. And it's not gradual anymore. It's like there and then gone. I'm gonna do a healing pin. Yeah, honestly, I think it's really hard to balance that, because, you know, what I said, like, how do you keep something challenging enough to where it's engaging if you're gonna eventually just plow over it? Various other versions of that I've seen of that problem have been around in a JRPG. You don't know where to go next. So you're wandering around the wilderness, you're trying to find the right person to talk to, you're trying to find the right path, whatever it is. And the longer you wander, the stronger you get. And that can upset that balance where, like, if you knew where to go next, you kind of carefully navigate that difficulty curve. And you're always on the precipice of being strong enough, and it's keeping you on your toes. But if you stall forward progress for some reason, because let's say you don't know where to go next, and you're allowed to level more because of random encounters, you end up on the other side of that curve where you are too strong, and so everything comes easy, and so you're able to conquer and continue to get experience quickly. Sometimes that'll reel back because you plow your way through the next area more quickly because the game's easier. Sometimes that doesn't happen though, because the difficulty never catches up. Once you're on the other side of that curve, you're just there for the rest of the game. it can catch back up if progress is tied more to discovery in the world than it is to defeating monsters, because no matter how high of a level you are, if you don't know where the MacGuffin is to continue, and then it just takes longer. But then again, you then have the problem where you keep leveling as you're wandering, and bosses go down like flies. Yeah, Zelda 2 I think is a good example of that being executed reasonably well. I actually really like how Grandia 2 solved that. In an area in Grandia 2, there's a finite number of creatures. If you kind of look around, like, you're in the overworld mappy area, and there's representations of all the encounters wandering the map. And when you defeat one, it's gone. It's no longer on the map. Which then means there's technically a finite amount of experience on the map. That's a fixed resource. And because it's a fixed resource, you have some idea of how strong the player could possibly be, because basically, have they harvested all the XP from the map before continuing or not? And that, actually, I felt like that worked really well, because then it rewarded somebody who did explore and clear out the map. They were a bit more powerful, but it still was balanced enough to where it wasn't a cakewalk. So you were in a more advantageous part of that curve, but you weren't fully on the other side to where the game was a breeze. And so you felt more powerful because you played the game. I gotta imagine it's a bit more involved to design the game that way, because you can't just procedurally generate encounters, right? Like, in Final Fantasy, if you get a random encounter, the groups of monsters you hit are hand-designed, but the actual encountering of the monster groups, that's procedural, because it's a random roll, are you going to hit it or not, and there's an infinite number of combats you could get into. That, now you're just twiddling like a rate number to determine combat that happens, and you're done. Whereas, if you have a finite number of encounters, it's a bit more like a D&D module, where now you have to plan each encounter. And where do you place it? When do you hit it? And so there's a lot more manual design effort. But I think it pays off with those problems that we were just talking about. With over-leveling and ruining the difficulty curve. Another way it was solved, which Doc can speak to a bit, with 7th Saga. So 7th Saga mostly plays like a traditional JRPG, where every time I love the fact that the rogue is just casually blowing off these traps because they know what's up. So 7th Saga mostly plays like a traditional JRPG, where you have the random encounters and there's monsters and they're of a fixed difficulty, and so over time you can get better and it gets easier. But there's kind of key gates in the game. You're searching for MacGuffins in the game world, and you're competing with, I think, 6 other rivals, and you will fight those rivals at some point, because they have one of the MacGuffins and it gives them special abilities, or they want the MacGuffin from you. And you can't progress until you defeat them. And since they're potential player characters, I guess I didn't mention that, you choose between 7 different characters that represent different classes, basically, and whichever ones you didn't choose become potential rivals. So because they're all player characters, they have their own leveling path, right? They unlock new spells, and they have stat progression as they get experience. When you fight them as rivals, they scale to meet your level, which means as you get stronger, so do they. So as long as those leveling curves for the different player characters are balanced right, it never gets easier to fight them. Instead, now you're hitting these periodic gates where it is going to be the same kind of difficulty, or maybe even harder, depending on what sort of abilities get unlocked. And it forces you to, instead of leveling out of the difficulty, to skillfully use your abilities. Maybe you, like something Doc had to do is exploit how speed works in the game to manage turn economy and dodge stuff. Yeah, that. I'm reading what Christian said. Yeah, that too. But right, like that just completely negates the usual grind then, because you cannot outrun them because they are leveling right along with you. But they also acquiesced that there were also a lot of random encounters that didn't do that. So it wasn't just a constant getting pounded into the ground. It was almost like that became the boss. You can grind your way through the minions, but you cannot grind your way through the boss. I think we're almost good here. It's also, in my mind, one of the big benefits of playing RPGs that are not Final Fantasy is you see these other systems and how they work. You can kind of compare and contrast. I have to play that darn game soon. If you want some hints and tricks on playing 7th Saga, Doc streamed on this channel doing 7th Saga. And you can kind of... It's probably multiple hours because it streamed the whole freaking thing. But you see that discovery process of how these mechanics work and where he landed. For the most part... No, I hate using that phrase because it doesn't mean anything. Speed becomes probably the most powerful stat in the game because speed dictates how likely you are to dodge. And dodging, unlike every other stat in the game, like defense scales. You get better at defending, but then it can also be outscaled by a higher attack. Magic attack and defense work that same way, right? Where you can never, it's never binary. It has gradient levels of effectiveness. Dodging is not that way. If you dodge, you dodge. No matter how great the attack is, no matter how high someone's defense is or whatever, if you dodge, you dodge. Which makes it so powerful. If that makes sense. Like, dodging is the best defense. Because it's all or nothing. So, the key becomes, can you get your speed high enough to avoid the super powerful attack that you otherwise wouldn't be able to defend against? And that works for magic, that works for physical attacks, that's everything. Yeah. Speed is the best stat. Which I think is kind of cool because you play a lot of RPGs, speed is kind of secondary. It's like, yeah, you get initiative, and that can help with some turn economy, but whatever, you can still grind out of it or something. But no, 7th Saga, it's like it's all about speed. And there's items that can buff speed. I don't know if there's any gear that buffs speed. I think there's spells that do it too. It could be that I'm biased. Because there's nuanced differences with the different Final Fantasy games, and I mean, especially if you go to the 3D ones, it gets way more. There's way more difference between the different games. But when I like play a Final Fantasy game, there's a lot of similarities between that and other Final Fantasy games. Like, my mind kind of puts all Final Fantasy games into the same bin. It's It's like they all basically play the same. They have differences, but they basically play the same. Because the gap of difference between Final Fantasy and like Dragon Quest or Grandia or Lufia or oh god, I'm trying to remember some of the janker games I'd played, like Cosmic Encounter, was that what it was called? Cosmic Fantasy. I'm going the wrong way. Like the difference between Grandia and Final Fantasy VII is way different than the difference between Final Fantasy V and Final Fantasy VII. So my brain begins to categorize RPGs that way, where it's like, oh, there's basically how Final Fantasy game plays, and there's basically how Lunar plays. That's another thing I'd say I really liked about Seventh Saga. It had loss conditions that weren't fatal. So it made your adventure harder when you lost, but it wasn't an all or nothing affair. Right? Like if you lost in a boss in like Xenogears, then there is no forward. Like, you have to beat the boss. So, death and loss become this binary thing. But in Seventh Saga, to what Chris alluded to, you lose your rune and lose the ability to use it, and now your enemy has it. And you need all the runes to continue forward. So, a loss has a penalty, but the story doesn't stop being told. Progress hasn't halted. Now your objective changes to getting the rune. And I think that's such a satisfying alternative. Because even when I'm playing like D&D, I love using something like D&D to kind of yes and, or not yes and, I mean yes and kind of puts the move, but yes and then, when demonstrating the repercussions of something that happens and letting the repercussions become part of the story instead of it being a gate. And I'd say Elder Scrolls does an okay job of that. Like, there's some absolutes that happen, but let's see how we do in this fight now that everyone's leveled a bit. Right, like you can steal something from why didn't Sneaker heal? I'm confused. I chose Sneaker as my active character, and then I... So you can see where that particular fight, it's challenging to play on your own. That was kind of what I was leveling to get better with. But like, yeah, even in Elder Scrolls, you can steal stuff. You can't kill every NPC. I think there are some core NPCs that push the story forward, that if they die, then the game halts and they'll tell you that you can't do it. But I'd say 70% of the time, you can just completely trash what's going on in the world, and the game's like, yep, that's part of the story now. Keep going. Yeah, Dragon Quest is pretty stagnant. I should say stagnant, because I'm not tired of it, but it is rather rigid in what a Dragon Quest game is. Would I agree with that assessment? What gives me pause with that assessment is I think 4 is the one that introduced the different storylines and the different characters. So the storytelling changes. And if I recall, there are some unique mechanics that introduced with each of the characters. Like the merchant character, you're earning gold to build a tunnel. I haven't played Dragon Quest 5, 6, 7, 8, and so... Well, did I play some of 6? No, I didn't. I haven't played the ones after 4. I played some of 9. I think that was the one on DS. And I don't remember... the storytelling in 9 was really weak, in my opinion. But I would at least give 4 credit for being a unique entry because of how they chose to tie mechanics to the different story chapters. But yeah, otherwise, like, I think it was Dragon Quest 2 that introduced multiple characters instead of the one hero, but like the basic combat's still the same. But that comes back to a bit of what I was saying earlier, where these franchises, they do evolve and they do grow. I don't want to suggest they don't. Especially, like, Final Fantasy has made strides to make differing feeling games. There's still this kind of undercurrent, this mechanic theming between these different franchises that tie them together. And the differences between those franchises, at least to me as a player, I find more drastic. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, Final Fantasy X does play a lot different than Final Fantasy IV. But it also plays... You can see the similarities, you can see the family resemblance if you look for it. Well, sure. I'm not necessarily saying the plot is the thing that I'm calling out, but it went hand in hand with what you did in the game in 4. Because it wasn't, you have these multiple classes all working together in the combat. The game played different for these different pieces. Kind of calling back to the merchant one's the easiest one to point out with Dragon Quest 4. Like, the game stops being a pure combat JRPG grind and becomes a bit of an economic sim, because you need to trade things in order to build up a trading business. Like, and plot wise, that is a difference. And you are kind of playing a different class, but the game focuses on that. You stop being a knight or a spellcaster or whatever for a little while. And that's the piece I'm trying to illuminate. Because I hadn't seen that in another RPG. Like, even you look at, like, Octopath or some of the Saga games, like, those have different storylines with different characters and you follow them. But it didn't feel as drastic of a difference in play style as it did when you're going through Dragon Quest 4. What I found even more interesting with Dragon Quest 4 was that was mandatory. It had a fixed order to do it, whereas with some other games I played where it had different classes that played a bit different, that was used as a mechanism to entice player choice. You could play the style you wanted to play to make your way through the game. Dragon Quest 4 is like, this isn't for you. I mean, the game kind of is for you, but this isn't meant to better appeal to your specific tastes. We just want to give different lenses to this linear story we're telling. And for whatever reason, I think that's really cool. Okay. I do not own all the Dragon Quests. I have an aspiration to eventually do that. But for something like I don't want to get like the DS remakes or the mobile game remakes. Like I want to play the original ones or like translated ROMs if I could. I think Dragon Quest VII, which is on PlayStation, I think that one had like a whole town building mechanic where you could save a town to a memory card and share that around. I do have that. I have 7, 8. I have 1 and 2 and 3. Those I have on Game Boy. I used to have 4 on NES. I got rid of my NES because I just didn't play it. So if I played 4 again, I'd probably play an emulator, honestly, because I liked playing an NES. I don't want to play the weird 3D remakes. And I don't know. When you get to like DS and GBA remakes of stuff, you get a lot of audio compression, and it's fine, but it bugs me. Like I wouldn't play Dragon Quest V as a remake on GBA or DS, because I think it'd probably have a better audio fidelity playing it on Super Nintendo. And like you play Tales of Fantasia, that definitely is apparent. I'm getting messaged. Oh man, I don't know if you've seen like some of the streams I had done a couple years ago on like weird jank JRPGs. There's some really bad end games on there. What was the one? It might have been Cosmic Fantasy that it dumped you into a dungeon that had tiles that randomly teleport you back to the start. And then there's a space themed one or sci-fi themed one on Genesis I did that it had an infinitely scrolling room of doors and you had to pick the right one to go through. Oh, good. There's nothing at all frustrating about that. About being highly dependent on your party and then yeah, Cosmic Fantasy 2, Jesus Christ. Langrisser gave me some of that pain where when they introduced new generals in the beginning part of the game, I haven't played a lot of Langrisser, so please don't spoil it for me. I do eventually want to get good at it. But they introduce generals to you in like the first 4 or 5 missions of the game. But when they come in, you don't control them, the AI controls them, and the AI does not do a good job of keeping them out of danger or setting them up to get experience. And similar like Fire Emblem, your generals gain experience by getting in combat and winning. And you need to do that to get them strong enough to survive the end of the first section of the game. So it's like right off the bat, they might just get killed. Ooh, I don't know that I've heard of Sorcerer's Kingdom. I'm gonna look it up super quick. We should call the stream Sam talks about JRPG bullshit. Oh, that's a tactical RPG. Nice. That's right up the alley of a lot of stuff that Doc and I play. Ooh, yes. We affectionately refer to tactical RPGs as grid games. And you grid good when you do good in a grid game. Yes, Sorcerer's Kingdom is a grid game. Excellent. Yeah, Doc, you're talking about wanting more tactical RPGs in your life. There you go. Boom. From the studio audience to the stage. I might end up having to step out because my girlfriend's messaging me. And we were going to plan on doing something this afternoon. So... Originally my thought was I'm going to level up until my party can basically survive the encounter with the tree. And we did. Those little dumb orbs killed me, and I've killed those once, and they're a bit of a rough ride to kill. I hope I haven't over-leveled for the rest of the dungeon. And grinding wasn't my favorite thing in the world. Oh boy, lag fast. Yeah, thanks for showing up. I will see everyone later, because I will be playing more of this. I enjoy this game, despite the flaws and weirdness that I pointed out. If I don't see y'all before so, eat turkey, stuffing, be well. Bye.
I got a hand-me-down dog. I keep a second-hand cat.